You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor.
I mean, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, yeah.
Here's the latest buzz from Dalton, Illinois, and it is a story you will not want to miss. Picture this: a small suburban town, a controversial mayor, and a betrayal that has everyone talking. We are diving deep into the intense drama between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her former assistant Carmen Carlisle. This story is packed with corruption, deception, and, believe it or not, a possible assassination plot.
2 years on allegations of corruption surrounding Henyard in her capacity as Dalton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor. And now we've learned from multiple sources that federal agents are in fact interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges.
We have been reporting for nearly 2 years on allegations of corruption surrounding Tiffany Henyard in her roles as mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thornton Township. And now, multiple sources confirm that federal agents are actively interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not lead to charges. So, who exactly is Carmen Carlisle? For years, Carmen was Tiffany Henyard's right-hand woman, working as her assistant and eventually rising to the position of trustee in Thornton Township. She was once a close ally of the so-called super mayor, fiercely loyal and always by her side. But that all changed. Carmen made headlines when she turned against Henyard, accusing her of corruption and mismanagement, and it does not stop there. She did not just speak out. She went straight to the feds, armed with a bag full of dirty secrets and damning evidence. This is not just another small-town scandal. This is political thriller material.
And we've learned the FBI has been using electronic surveillance as part of its investigation. Agents are asking questions about Henyard's alleged use of taxpayer dollars and resources, including massive spending on out-of-town.
Let's take a step back and unpack what's been going on, for those who aren't familiar. Tiffany Henyard has been a polarizing figure since taking office in Dalton. Dubbed America's worst mayor by some, she's been accused of running a corrupt administration marked by misuse of funds, lavish spending, and a blatant disregard for the town's financial health. Under her leadership, Dalton's budget reportedly plummeted from a $5.61 million surplus in 2022 to a staggering $3.65 million deficit by May 2024. That's not just bad management, that's financial freefall.
Make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is,
Let's take a step back and unpack what's been going on. For those who aren't familiar, Tiffany Henyard has been a polarizing figure since taking office in Dalton. Dubbed America's worst mayor by some, she's been accused of running a corrupt administration marked by misuse of funds, lavish spending, and a blatant disregard for the town's financial health. Under her leadership, Dalton's budget reportedly plummeted from a $5.61 million surplus in 2022 to a staggering $3.65 million deficit by May 2024.
Without any approval from the village board, so now Robert Collins has filed a lawsuit against the village, and tonight he's talking exclusively.
And it doesn't stop there. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was hired to investigate Henyard's spending, uncovered a staggering trail of reckless expenditures. Tens of thousands of dollars were charged to the village credit card at Amazon, Target, Walgreens, Wayfair, and other retailers. One day alone, Henyard allegedly dropped a jaw-dropping $33,000 on Amazon. Can you believe that? But why is Carmen such a threat to Tiffany Henyard? Why would Henyard go so far as to allegedly hire criminals to silence her? The answer lies in Carmen's intimate knowledge of Henyard's alleged wrongdoings. She wasn't just any assistant, she was Tiffany's right-hand woman. She was in the room when the decisions were made, she saw the credit card statements, and she witnessed the questionable transactions firsthand. For years, Carmen remained loyal, perhaps even complicit, as the mayor allegedly abused her power and bled the town dry. But something changed. Maybe it was the FBI closing in, or maybe Carmen saw the writing on the wall. Either way, she made her choice, and she flipped.
Sir? You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
Flip she did. Carmen didn't just spill the beans, she brought the whole pot to a boil. In a dramatic turn of events, Carmen released a statement accusing Henyard of unethical and predatory behavior. She claimed Henyard manipulated employees, vendors, and residents, using her position to enrich herself at the expense of Dalton and Thornton Township. If true, this isn't just corruption, it's a betrayal of the very people she was elected to serve. For the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success. She said, "Talk about a drop." But the real bombshell came when Carmen handed over evidence to the feds. Sources say she provided documents and recordings that could directly link Henyard to a range of illegal activities. Everything from embezzling public funds to using police officers as her personal security detail for private errands. This isn't just some petty office drama. This is serious business. And from the way Henyard has been scrambling, it seems like she knows it.
I think you should pay everybody. Is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just asked me.
In a public meeting, Henyard reportedly lashed out at her former assistant, Lan Carlisle, accusing her of fabricating stories to make herself look like a hero. But was this just damage control, or a desperate attempt to discredit someone who dared to speak out? "I'm tired of everyone in here. There always has to be a show." Henyard snapped. But the more she talks, the more suspicious her actions seem. And speaking of suspicious, let's circle back to that alleged assassination plot. It might sound like a scene straight out of a gangster movie, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Reports suggest that just days after Carmen blew the whistle, she was attacked outside her home. Eyewitnesses claimed they saw 2 masked men fleeing the scene. And here's where it gets really juicy. One of the suspects is rumored to have ties to a local gang that Henyard herself is allegedly connected to. Could this be a mere coincidence? Or is there something far more sinister at play?
New developments in South Suburban Dalton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
Now, let's add a little more spice to this already fiery mix. This isn't the first time Henyard has been linked to shady dealings. Remember the infamous snowstorm incident? Henyard showed up at Valeria Stubbs's house, shovel in hand, not to help, but to mock her. It was less an act of service and more a power move straight out of a mafia playbook. Her message was clear: cross her, and she'll make sure you feel it. This is what it looks like when you pull up on your haters. Henyard even boasted about her actions in a video she posted online. But if that wasn't enough, there's also the bizarre incident where she allegedly orchestrated a caravan of police and city workers to intimidate a critic who dared to call her out in public. Clearly, this is a woman who doesn't shy away from confrontation.
The way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing.
The controversy runs even deeper. Henyard's alleged ties to criminal activity aren't just about intimidation and theatrics, they come with real consequences. Reports suggest she has used her position to retaliate against business owners who refuse to play by her rules. Take the case of Lawrence Gardner, a local business owner who claims his trucking company was shut down after he refused to make a political contribution to Henyard's campaign. Gardner even revealed that the FBI had approached him for information about Henyard, clear evidence that federal investigators are taking these allegations seriously. The FBI came out and went to talk to me, and I gave them all the paperwork that I had. As Garner put it, with Carmen's life hanging by a thread, the heat on Henyard is reaching an all-time high. So, what's next in Dalton's never-ending saga? Is Tiffany Henyard finally on the ropes, or does she have more tricks up her sleeve? With Carmen's shocking accusations and the swirling rumors of an attempted hit on her life, it seems the noose is tightening around Henyard's neck. And let's not forget, the feds are already deep into their investigation. Subpoenas have been served, evidence has been collected, and every move Henyard makes is likely under a microscope. But before we dive into the next chapter of this unfolding scandal, let's take a moment to consider what's truly at stake. Dalton, a town that once thrived, now teeters on the edge of financial collapse. The general fund is in the red, public services are dwindling, and trust in local government is shattered.
And her entourage racked up more than $67,000 in travel-related charges in just 5 months.
The people of Dalton are angry, frustrated, and desperate for justice. They want answers, and more importantly, they want accountability. And for the first time, it looks like they just might get it. The question on everyone's mind is simple. How did one person single-handedly push a town to the brink of financial ruin while living like royalty? To understand how Tiffany Henyard has managed to hold on to power despite mounting allegations, we need to examine both her past and present, unraveling the intricate web of deceit she's allegedly woven. This is a woman who seems to thrive in the murky waters of controversy, using every tool at her disposal to maintain control. Her tenure as mayor of Dalton has been anything but ordinary. From accusations of embezzlement and corruption to allegations of misusing village funds for personal indulgences, Henyard's administration reads like a laundry list of scandal and misconduct.
I think it's interesting about this case, this story, is you can be highly legal and unethical at the same time.
One thing that stands out about Henyard's tenure is her ability to manipulate and intimidate. She's been accused of turning Dalton into her personal fiefdom, where dissent is swiftly silenced and loyalty is rewarded, often with taxpayer dollars. Now, let's talk about that lavish lifestyle. Under her leadership, Dalton's budget didn't just get tight, it spiraled out of control. While the town's infrastructure crumbled and basic services were cut, Henyard was busy splurging on first-class travel, luxury hotels, and even personal photographers. Imagine this, a town of just 20,000 people struggling to make ends meet, while their mayor racks up tens of thousands of dollars in expenses on a single trip to New York City.
As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
We're talking about luxury stays at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square and lavish meals at high-end restaurants, all funded by taxpayers. And who could forget the infamous $43,000 Amazon shopping spree in a single day? One has to wonder what exactly she was buying to rack up such a staggering bill, but it doesn't stop there. Henyard also managed to double her income by holding 2 elected positions at once, serving as both mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thornton Township. Together, these roles netted her nearly $300,000 a year, more than the governor of Illinois himself.
To receive the information today, we have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993. And she's the best we ever had.
You know, you're doing a lot of programs, good programs for the, the senior citizens. And you're doing a lot of programs for, people who are on a fixed budget. But what about the people, the blue-collar people who are still carrying...
And as if that wasn't enough, Henyard has reportedly used village funds to plaster billboards of herself across town, creating the illusion of widespread support, despite growing public outrage. But the misuse of taxpayer money doesn't stop there. Under her leadership, the police force, meant to serve and protect the residents of Dalton, was allegedly repurposed as her personal security team. Reports indicate that officers were pulled from their regular duties to chauffeur Henyard around, even for personal errands, racking up excessive overtime costs while crime in the community remained unchecked.
About the bills and credit cards, tonight Henyard did not specifically mention Washington, but in her last comments, she did address budgets for travel.
You don't have a budget for travel. I can't stand up and just put all that out there so bad for travel. And you should for other cities, other villages.
And it wasn't just a couple of officers. Sometimes entire squads were reassigned for her personal security. This blatant misuse of public resources didn't come cheap. Over time, costs skyrocketed, with some officers reportedly earning more in overtime than their base salaries. One officer alone raked in over $114,000 in overtime, more than double his regular pay. All this was happening while crime rates in Dalton continued to rise, and residents pleaded for more police presence on the streets. It's clear that Henyard has a knack for using her position to her advantage, but it's her alleged connections to the underworld that are truly alarming. Whispers, unconfirmed of course, suggest that she has long-standing ties to local gangs. And remember the attack on Carmen Carlisle? Some speculate that Henyard may have used those connections to orchestrate the hit.
That's right, Dawn and Terrence. Tonight's meeting had a much different tone than what we've experienced previously at Dalton City Council meetings. Now, the room was full of Henyard supporters, and they wanted me to be sure to tell you that they applauded for her several times as she talked about the township being in a great place financially. Thornton Township Supervisor.
With more national attention on Dalton, the latest City Council meeting took on a much different tone. This time, the room was packed with Henyard supporters who made sure to applaud her several times as she boasted about Thornton Township's supposed financial stability. It sounds like a page from a crime novel, but in Dalton, this seems to be the new normal, and it's not the first time Henyard has been linked to shady dealings. Rumors swirl about her involvement in other violent incidents, including an alleged attack on a political rival who dared to challenge her authority. So why hasn't she been stopped? Why is Henyard still sitting in the mayor's office calling the shots? The answer lies partly in her ability to create chaos and confusion, effectively paralyzing those who oppose her. Take the Dalton Village Board, for example. Trustees have repeatedly tried to rein in Henyard's excesses, passing measures to limit her spending and calling for audits of the town's finances. But Henyard has fought back at every turn, vetoing their efforts, calling special meetings to overturn board decisions, and even appointing new officials without proper authority. It's a game of political chess, and Henyard always seems to be one step ahead. But the walls are closing in. The FBI is now heavily involved, investigating everything from financial mismanagement to possible criminal activities. 2 federal subpoenas have been issued demanding records from Henyard's office and her top aide, Keith Freeman, who himself has been charged with bankruptcy fraud. The feds are leaving no stone unturned, and their investigation is widening by the day.
More and more information. They'll turn up more leads. They may turn up more witnesses. They may find a cooperator. They may find an informant, all which will benefit the investigation tremendously.
But based on what we know now, if you're Tiffany Henyard, how are you feeling?
I would be nervous.
They're looking into everything: village contracts, credit card statements, expense reports, even Henyard's personal ties to local businesses. With each new revelation, the picture of her corrupt empire becomes clearer. Even former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has been brought in as a special investigator to uncover the truth behind Dalton's financial collapse. And her preliminary findings are damning. According to Lightfoot, not only is Dalton's general fund deep in the red, but there has also been a massive spike in police overtime costs and a slew of questionable expenses charged to the village's credit cards. These are somebody using the credit card and charging these amounts using your tax dollars. Lightfoot addressed Dalton residents, adding even more fuel to the fire already burning against Henyard.
The FBI, which said it is policy for the agency not to comment on the nature, existence, or non-existence of any investigation that may be occurring. A public relations firm responded on behalf of the mayor, saying neither Henyard or the village of Dalton had received any subpoenas or been contacted by the FBI or any other law enforcement.
The people of Dalton aren't just angry, they're furious. The town's financial collapse has affected everyone, and residents are demanding answers. Public meetings have turned into shouting matches, with citizens calling for Henyard's resignation and even her arrest. "This is a disgrace what you have done to this village. They say that you're the worst mayor in America. I agree," one resident shouted at a recent town hall, echoing the frustration felt throughout Dalton. The outrage is palpable, and it's not just coming from a vocal minority. Across social media and local news, the message is the same: Henyard has to go. But Henyard remains undeterred. She's doubling down, painting herself as the victim of a political witch hunt. "You guys are following a fiction, a made-up story," she said defiantly in a public address. However, this isn't just about bad press. It's about real consequences. The Illinois State Comptroller has already taken drastic action, withholding funds from Dalton due to Henyard's refusal to comply with state transparency laws. If she doesn't change course, the village stands to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars, money desperately needed to keep basic services running. So what's next for Tiffany Henyard? With the feds closing in, the state turning up the heat, and her former allies abandoning her, it looks like she's running out of options.
If you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other question?
But if there's one thing we've learned from watching Henyard over the years, it's that she's a fighter. She won't go down without a battle, and she's proven time and time again that she'll do whatever it takes to hold on to power. And let's not forget the other key players in this unfolding drama. Carmen Carlisle may be down, but she's not out. If she recovers, she could be the key witness that finally brings Henyard's reign to an end. But she's not the only one. Former allies, disgruntled employees, and even members of Henyard's own administration are starting to speak out. The pressure is building, and it's only a matter of time before something gives. In the meantime, it's the people of Dalton who are left to pick up the pieces. They're the ones suffering the fallout from Henyard's alleged mismanagement and corruption. They're the ones living with the consequences of a town that's been run into the ground.